Well, I used to be at home with my uncle playing on my little Fisher-Price court in the back. He's teaching me the basics. So my mom said, okay, Marquis, you want to try basketball? I said, yeah. So she brought me up here, signed me up, and first practice met Johnson and Harry, and it's been history ever since. It's been Rancho through and through. That's all I'd have known. Rancho was my second home. It was no other place that I wanted to be. Biddy ball is what we called it back then. Biddy ball was the foundation. It taught you the spots on the court, even learned how to run a play. As a 4-year-old, I knew how to run a motion offense. Run a 2-3. As a 4-year-old, not wait until I was 7, 8, I learned it at 4. And I was probably the tallest kid at the time on the court, but they still had me run the guard position. And I ran the wing, I ran the big. It was just a fun place for me at that time. I was a kid that didn't know nothing. I was innocent. I was just playing. That team was a unique team. We had a lot of different characters on that team. You had a few scrappy, you had the nice guy, but when it was time to step on that court, you didn't want to see us. We full court press when we could. We was running. We was gonna try to take your throat out. And one of my first friend ever was one of my people on the side of me, Kyle Gibson. That was the first dude I met going to kindergarten. And then I had one of my friends to this day, Freddie Lewis, Jr. Me and him still tight to this day. He was I knew his favorite move. He hated if he had to play against me. So when we finally got to play together, it was amazing. Then I had one of my friends still to this day, Calvester. He was the rebounder, had a short jump shot. He might get mad at you every so often if you didn't throw it to him when he thought he should have got it, but he'd get over it, go grab a rebound, block a shot. Hanif Tiptoe. He was a Kevin Durant, if I could describe him to anybody, because he could handle the ball, he could shoot it. He could dribble, get to the basket. He had that type of game if he would have ever kept going with it and took it as serious as Kevin Durant did. Marlon, a thief. He was a thief. You didn't want to dribble in front of him at all. If you dribbled in front of him, it was pretty much taken. You gotta remember, he played football. He was a corner, so any ball in the air, any ball in front of him, he was taking. One of my friends still to this day. Then another one, Jeremiah Johnson. He was a football player, but he was very talented, and one of his things was the ball couldn't keep up with him. It's not that he couldn't keep up with the ball couldn't keep up with him, so he would have to slow himself down on a fast break to make a layup. Silk, he was another thief. You couldn't dribble in front of him. Delton, a lefty, he had a slingshot, but he'll make it, but had the coldest handle at that age that I knew. His crossover, you didn't want to guard him. You was like, oh, nah, man. I got to guard? Nah, I'm all right. Let me guard somebody else. Martin, hard-nosed, did whatever you asked. That was my partner on the press in the second line. We was the read the lane players. Don't throw a long pass, we picking that off. Me and him had that down packed. Greg, he was a quiet player. He just came in and did what he had to do. He fit. He was that glue. Just, I'm going to fit and do whatever I had to do, but don't think you could press him. He'll break a press too. Well, Coach Darren kind of just let us be us. He knew he couldn't be passive with us. We had to be aggressive, because if he was passive, we got lazy. So we had to be aggressive, So he always pressed, but he let us be us. If you was a shooter, go ahead and shoot it. If you could score, go score. You was a thief, go be a thief. So he kind of just let us be us, but he kept it together because he knew majority of us just from being around the park. So he knew us, but he was like, okay, I'll let you be you, but keep it together. If we got it too little far away from what we were supposed to, timeout. He wasn't ashamed of a timeout and tell us a few words. It was amazing. It was one of my best, and I done had some crazy stuff happen in my career of basketball, but it was one of my best feelings in life. Just to say I played on the same court as Magic Johnson, who was on the Clippers at that time, Danny Manny, Mark Jackson, and then you had Jordan come through there. You had Shaq come through there, like just all these NBA players, and you was on that same court, sitting on the same bench they sat on, and you was just able to say, man, I see even though it's not packed as it is for them, but to us, it's packed. So it was like, man, just to look in the stands and just say, NBA players playing here. I'm playing on the same court they playing on. It made you think like, okay, I could get here. It was just a feeling that my mom got to see me play on that court. I still got pictures from that day. I still have friends that I played against on that day. If I post a picture, I have a dude I went to elementary with, was on that Queen Anne team that we played against, and he'll hit me like, man, y'all beat up on us, but we got there though. Yeah, as a basketball player, I got 2 city championships, but then also one of the chosen few, I got to get one as a baseball player. And that team, I think you could have put us in the Little League World Series and we had a chance to win it. That team was like a unique team. I was one of the best players in the park, and I didn't get to do what I done best. I had to play in the outfield somewhere. I was a pitcher, one of the best pitchers, hardest throwing dudes in the park. I couldn't even pitch. That's how many, on that team, how many good pitchers we had, good players. You had to play your role on that team. And one of the biggest things I remember about that team is one of my friends, still to this day, Darren Morrison, was able to throw with both hands. He would start the game off right-handed, and in the middle of the inning, our next inning, he'll say, throw me my other glove, and we'll switch. And they would think it's a whole new pitcher. They'd be like, nah, he's just switching arms. And that team, we actually got to have a game right here at Rancho. And it was a wonderful feeling because you don't get that too often in All-Stars. You usually got to travel somewhere. So to get one here was amazing. Actually, I had to run right in after that game and play a basketball game. But that team, we actually had, I think, 2 dudes that got drafted for baseball. We had some characters. I can't remember everybody on that team, but from the people, one of the dudes I remember actually played on my team in the park, and I used to get mad because I always had to catch for him when he pitched. He threw the hardest I ever seen in my life at that age. His name was Anthony? Yeah, Anthony. He threw one of the hardest fastballs I ever had to catch in my life. But it was lovely having him on my team in All-Stars because nobody was hitting off of him. Then we had a guy named Daryl. He actually got drafted. He reminded me of Frank Thomas. That's what type of bat strength he had. Don't throw him a fastball. He might hit it over the fence. Marlon actually was on that team. That was the year. Rest in peace to his father. His father passed, I think, that year. So he was having a tough year, and he got to make it to that team. And we did a little thing, dedication for his father with that team. We had a guy, Tony Parham. He was a 3-sport athlete, football, basketball, baseball. He was our leadoff batter. He couldn't give him a fastball either. He was gonna let you have it. Nick, oh man, Nick, he was the youngster on the team. He was, I think, 2 years younger than me, and I was young. And I think he was 2 years younger than me on that team, and he played in the infield, if I'm not mistaken, on that team. He wasn't missing a ground ball. You couldn't get a fastball, pass him a curveball, nothing. We had a guy named Big Man. He was actually a catcher, but on that team he couldn't play catcher because we had a guy named Doc that was even better. That team, like I said, I think we could have played in the Little League World Series and had a shot. Well, first of all, I think I'm the only one to win as a player and a coach. I don't think anybody else done that. You don't even have to quote me. I can guarantee that nobody else done that. But it's crazy because, like you said earlier, this is the 20th year of me winning in '98 as a player, and then 20 years later, I win my third one as a coach. I done won 3 years in a row. You don't pay attention to it at first until you come back in here and you start looking around at these banners. You're like, dang, wait. I won that year. Now I'm doing it as a coach. It's a feeling like I feel like I'm doing something with my life, because it's hard to describe. It's a feeling that's just like boiling inside of you when that championship game is going on. It's like I see it, and I was a player, so I know what they thinking and what mood they in, and I'm like, I was in that position as the player. Now I'm the coach, and now I'm getting from where the coaches that coached me, the feeling they had, like, oh, wait. And I had a game, not last year we dominated, but the year before, I had a game. I had Mr. Jordan sitting there with me, and it was going down to the wire. And I'm like, as the coach, I'm like, man, can we just do this and as a player, you trying, but sometimes you can't. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, if I was in the game, it wouldn't be like I'm getting that mentality. Like, in the game, it wouldn't be like this. But now I got to be the coach, so I got to keep myself calm to keep them calm. And I had to call a timeout. And I told them, I said, man, if we lose this game, we running. But after this game, we running. And they looked at me, and they went back out there. And we hit a run, and we went up by 5. And the other team fought back. And they took the lead. They shot a 3, and we fouled them. Who fouls a 3-point shooter? So we fouled them. They shoot the free throws. They go up by 1. So they made the first 2, missed the last one. And my guy gets the rebound. You in that position where you don't know to call the timeout or let him play. And I let him play. And he dribbled full speed, and he went to lay it up. We're in the valley. He went to lay it up, and I heard a whistle on the baseline. I'm sitting there, and I'm running down the baseline like, no, don't call the charge. And the ref go, block. Yes! And he makes the layup and 1, goes to the free throw line. He missed, so that now we up by 1. They call a timeout. I got to set up the defense, and we ended up winning that. That was probably my second one, meant the most to me, because it was that team. I had to really coach them and bring them together, because we had some talent, but it wasn't the best talented team that I had. My first year, third year was pretty much just, first year we had a battle, but we ended up pulling out at the end. But first and third year was the toughest. But my second year, that was one of them ones I was like, I don't know if we're going to get this one.
Okay.
And that was Mr. Jordan last year. Harold Freeman. I love that man. I remember I used to always throw a one-hand bounce pass. I'll still throw it to this day. He was the first coach to tell me never take that out of my game. Everybody else would say, no, two hands, two hands. He said, you might be too slow if you throw it with two hands. You might need to throw it with one. Keep that pass in your repertoire. And to this day, I will still throw that same pass if I need to. He was a caring, loving, but hard-nosed. He wasn't gonna let you BS him, but if he was there at the drop of the hat if you needed him. To talk, anything, whatever you needed, he'll give you the clothes off his back. He was a mentor, I would say. He was one of the people that I knew I could count on. Even as a kid, I figured that out early. I could count on him. I never had to worry about if I asked him a question, if he was going to not tell me the truth. He was always going to stay truthful and give it to you how you, not too harsh, but what you needed to hear. I think he was like that with anybody. Like, he's going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, what you need to hear. And I'll see him to this day, and I just hug him. Even though, he had a stroke and everything, but I'll hug him anytime I see him, because that man, he was part of the people that made me who I am today. And it's just, I wish I could see him more, but when I see him, I make sure I give him the biggest hug I can. Oh man, it's just crazy that I'm still here working, doing the same thing that y'all done for me. Like, I have kids that come up to me that I'm out anywhere. Coach Marquis, and I'm like, hey, I can't remember exactly where I know him from, but Rancho, I played for. Oh, okay, well. And it's a wonderful feeling. Actually, I could be out and people say, you know so many people. I said, probably from being at Rancho since I was 4 and being a rec assistant there now, the kids running up to me. And then it just helps me on my regular day-to-day, because you have to meet so many different people. It makes you a people person. So it benefits me when I'm out, because if I need to ask a question, I'm not scared to ask a question. Or in any other field you go into, you're not scared to work with different people, because you deal with different people, all different type of people working at a park. And then you're a mentor, you're a coach, you're a little bit of everything working here. And it's a passion you gotta have. And if you don't have that passion, you need to get out this field, because you're wasting the kids' time. And nobody wasted mine when I was little. It made me the man. This park helped make me the man I am today. It's a feeling that I'm able to give back to the same community that I came from. It's one of the best feelings in life. I feel like I'm accomplishing something in my life by doing that.